Hello peoples, this is his little Cherie, and I wanted to tell you the story of the miracle of the butter chicken. So there was a special guest coming to speak last night at a special service. An important person and his team were flying into Calgary, and our pastors asked Rob and I if we would be in charge of the green room. So we said yes. We were very honored to be asked. And yesterday morning, our pastor's wife, Stephanie, asked me if I would be willing to pick up something and bring it for supper, because they had been asked to provide supper for the special speaker and his team. And she thought maybe Swiss Chalet, but she said, you know, if you have any other ideas of fresh options, let me know. And I don't know why, but I told her, I said, well, I make good butter chicken. And she said, oh, that would be amazing, a home-cooked meal, thank you so much. And what she didn't realize was that when I make butter chicken, I buy the jars of butter chicken sauce from Costco and I dump it on chicken, and there you go. It's pretty good, I think. Yeah, well, I figured that for this important person and his team who are flying into Calgary for this special service, I should maybe up my game a little bit. So I decided to make butter chicken from scratch, which I have done before, and well, it didn't go well, but I thought I would try it, so I did. I made a batch of butter chicken, and it was bad. So then I made a second batch of butter chicken, and that was bad too. And a third batch and a fourth batch, all 4 batches that I made turned out to be bad. Like each one was a different kind of bad. Like there was one that had like an inch of butter floating on the top of it. I'm like, where did all this butter come from? I didn't actually measure the butter, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is that all 4 batches were a fail. And at that point, I had every pot and every dish in my kitchen was dirty. From floor to ceiling, there were dirty dishes, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just give up now. And I thought, I'm going to throw all of these bad batches into a big pot and just put it in the freezer to deal with another day. Maybe I can salvage it somehow. And I'll just open a bunch of jars of butter chicken sauce and pour it on chicken and take that to the service. So I proceeded to get the biggest pot I could find and put all 4 batches of so-called butter chicken, stir them all together, and then I thought, well, maybe I should at least taste it now that it's all stirred together. So I did, and you know what? It wasn't terrible. It was almost passable, and I thought, well, maybe it's okay. And I gave some to Rob. Well, the truth is, before I gave it to Rob, I decided to pray over it. And I said, God, please make this butter chicken delicious. And then I gave some to Rob, and he said, I like it. So I thought, oh, prayer works. So I decided to take the pot to the service, and I did. I took the butter chicken and all of the other things that I'd prepared, I bought at Costco, and I took it all to the green room. I set it all up. The speaker hadn't arrived yet, but it was all good to go, so I left it there, and then I stayed for part of worship, and then I went home because I don't do late nights. But Rob stayed for the whole thing. Okay, so get this. Apparently everyone was raving about this butter chicken. Our pastors, Craig and Stephanie, had some, and Stephanie sent me a text that said, best butter chicken ever. And even Bide, the East Indian fellow who works at our church, said it was amazing. And he's a really good cook apparently, so wow. Okay, but that's not where the story ends. This morning, Rob and I went to church, and Pastor Craig called Rob up to make an announcement about the newcomers barbecue that we're having next month. And then Pastor Craig says, and Cherie, stand up so the people can see you. Even if you're not a newcomer, you should go to their barbecue because Cherie is an amazing cook. She is an amazing cook. So I I just smiled and nodded, and inwardly I was killing myself, because those of you who know me know I don't cook. Not really. But something miraculous happened. God answered my prayer and made that butter chicken amazing. It's the only explanation. But I have to tell you that that the moral of the lesson was yet to come, because after announcements and everything, the service continued, and it ended up being one of those services that's just amazing, where it just took on a life of its own, and I don't think anyone had any of it planned, but it kind of morphed into this wonderful worship time, and I was just sitting there soaking it all up. And I felt God say to me, Cherie, when Pastor Craig made that announcement about how amazing you are as a cook, did you feel a lot of pride? I mean, did you feel like, wow, I am an amazing cook? And I said, well, no, not even a little bit. I know that butter chicken had very little to do with me. And he said, exactly. That's just like your book, Cherie. You may get criticism, you may get a lot of positive feedback. And to be honest, sometimes the positive feedback is harder to deal with when everybody's telling you how amazing you are and, oh my goodness, this changed my life. And sometimes it's hard not to get swept away by that. But God was saying, Cherie, the butter chicken and the book have this in common. You may have cooked it, but I'm the one that will make it delicious. And so there's no room for pride. And there's no room for condemnation either. If I get a lot of negative feedback, it is what it is. And so I was just really grateful that God spoke that to me, because as some of you know, I recently have had some interesting developments with my book, the manuscript being rejected by one Christian publisher who said initially they were going to publish it, but then felt it was too unorthodox for many Christian readers. So anyway, the moral of the story is God makes the best butter chicken, and we can leave the results with him. All right, that's it for now. See you later.